The Nova Guest List Podcast.
With Kieran McGuinness.
The very best in indie, alternative and homegrown music. From the seriously addictive Radio Nova.
So yeah, there you go, Gavin Friday, absolutely classic tune there. Few artists have shaped Ireland's cultural landscape with the daring originality of Gavin Friday, emerging from the boundary-pushing world of the Virgin Prunes, of course, and evolving into a singular voice across music and film and theatre and visual art, and you can hear that throughout his kind of career and his live shows and everything like that. Gavin Friday has spent decades redefining what it means to be an Irish artist on the global stage. So 18 months ago he released maybe his finest solo album, Ecce Homo, and now he's out touring it. He's on just back from a 3-week tour of Europe, and he's coming to Dublin with Ecce Homo in Vicar Street on Thursday the 12th of March, and we're absolutely blessed to have Gavin on the line. How's it going, Gavin?
It's going well. I'm actually going to Italy with one more show, and then back Wednesday to play Vicar Street on Thursday night.
Ah, brilliant! Yeah, Thursday is going to be great. So, I mean, how does it feel to be out on this kind of tour with the intensity of sharing this album with people?
Well, touring is tough for every band at the moment, unless you're mega. It's just a hard grind, and it's the state of the music business it's on its knees in many ways. But I'm not complaining. In that, but it is really, really hard for younger bands, especially. But I haven't played live toured in about 10 years. And last year I toured, and I loved it so much, I started again. So, and also the age I am, I can't leave in another 10 years. It'll be too late. But yeah, I just love being on stage performing. The touring and the traveling. No.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so do you think that's your kind of the perfect place for what you do on stage? Do you think that's like the place where it all sort of comes together? Not maybe the recording studio is great, talking to people, that kind of thing, but the stage is exactly where you can just put across all of your influences.
Well, it is for me very much, and I felt the shows I've done this year. It's weird, like the album came out and I went on tour. And strangely, when you write out songs and albums, you don't really become them until you perform them. Like I put songs on like a jacket, like a suit. I become the song, or I try to become the song. But this time, it's like after Christmas, I went, God, I own it now. It's like you're playing these songs for the first time last year. So the show is even different to what I did a year ago on Vicar Street. I've evolved it and changed it. So I just, I think I was born to be on stage, believe it or not. It's just my natural thing. Recording I love, but it can be long and tedious. But live, it's 2 hours. It's in front of an audience. And it's a magic moment, for me.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that stands out from the most recent shows is how much religion is in there. And, you're obviously, you've grown up on that, you rebelled against it when you were younger and all through your career. But it's still such a focus. And even on songs like Church of Love on the new album, it's still sort of upsetting you or frustrating you or inspiring you.
It's a bit of both. It's like I'm not that upset by it at this stage. I mean, if you came into my house or if you were sitting where I'm sitting now, you'd have a heart attack. The amount of religious icons I have all over the place. I think it's sort of like in my DNA. The Ireland I grew up in was a very, very different place to now. And it wasn't easy with being brought up and educated by Christian brothers and nuns. And Ireland was really, in a stranglehold of the Catholic Church. But, I use Catholic imagery more as a touchstone for words rather than, none of the songs are actually that religious. The Church of Love is more about embracing all gender fluidity because that is the real love. Real church is love, not hate. And there's far too much hate out there, and especially from religious groups and fundamentalism at the moment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I suppose with everything you've done, it feels like it's always been important to push against whatever the thing is.
Yes.
And the church feels like an easy one, like it's like a universal one that everyone understands. But is it more that you're not pushing, it's more that you're pulling people in, like it's like looking for an acceptance thing across your career?
I don't know about that. I mean, there isn't really any one song that whacks the church on the head on this album. Like Stations of the Cross is a song. It's more of it's an analogy to the title. It's sort of like the way to a couple know that the relationship is over, but keep going into this loop, almost like the Stations of the Cross, and suffering and not ending the relationship. So it's more the analogy I use. More so on this album, I'm very anti the far right. I mean, Ecce Homo was inspired by that orange person that's destroying the world at the moment over in America. So I came from, as I said, the 60s, 70s, but I formed a band in punk, and it was sort of like the law that you spoke about what upsets you or what annoys you. So this show is even more political, not religious. It's more political this time because the world is in flames. I think it's the maddest I've ever seen it in my life. And is it not our right to speak out? Because if not, artists, who else is? You know, media seems to be dumbing down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you think music is the way to get across that feeling, to inhabit that thing. So you're going out on stage and you're letting people inhabit that feeling.
I am, yeah. And it's not all like doom and gloom. There is other elements. You know, I go for 1 minute, it looks like I want to kill you, and next minute I'm going to kiss you. It's I jump from A to Z. You know, but I do feel, you know, writers should be expressing something about what's right and what's wrong, because it's just, as I said, I grew up in punk, so it's in our DNA. But you can see that in a lot of young bands now, whether it be the Fontaines or even Murder Capital, or what is that northern band, Kneecap, Lancome even. I mean, they're not happy at what's going on in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, let's have a little listen to some Virgin Prunes. This is Pagan Love Song. Yeah, and so you can hear there the passion. The culture of punk was all about speaking out. And I think there has been a kind of not a drift away from that, but like towards pop, which is a bit more just getting on with it. Whereas now it does feel like there's a new generation, and you have just come right back with this album right into that kind of zeitgeist of speaking out. And there's enough things to be speaking out about. And do you get inspired by other artists, or do you feel like you look at that from a little distance?
No, well, I mean, we're always inspired by other artists, but usually, you know, I won't put out an album unless I want to. I think a lot of artists, every 2 years, it's like a conveyor belt. They have an album out on a tour, and then you go, Jesus, if I hear another, they sound the same anyway, most of them. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I think it's what inspires me really is what I live through or what I see. The musicians I work with, I find quite inspiring. I've actually got a lot of young Irish people with me this time. 2 young girls, one on guitar and vocals. She's only Lara Adore, I call her, and she is as punk as anything, and intelligent and angry and feminist, and just that energy of a 24-year-old. And then there's another girl from Mayo that plays bass and accordion, and she's classically trained, and keyboards. And then I have Kate Ellis, who's that infamous cellist from England that works with nearly everybody. She's worked with me 20 years. And I've Kevin Cochran that also works with the Villagers on keyboards, and then Reno Pion, who's my longest musical collaborator. He's on horns. So it goes from sort of like even the mixture of musicians I use, they tend to be, I like being able to play anything, go from something very sophisticated and cinematic to something as raw as like Pagan Love Song. Not that I'm doing Pagan Love Song, but I am doing some Virgin Prune stuff.
Oh, fantastic. But I mean, I think this is the thing that, you know, you've always been amazing at collaborating, and you've always been amazing at connecting with the people. And it was very much a David Bowie thing. I know David Bowie, you're a huge fan of him. But I mean, if you're doing this and you're kind of, you know, your show blends poetry, there's provocation, there's obviously theatre in there as well. For people going along on Thursday, is it the kind of thing that you want it to be something that the people leave kind of wanting to kind of create, or how do you want people to leave the room with?
I want them to feel something. I want them, you know, when you see a great movie and it's with you like the next day if you're walking your dog and you think about it, it evokes something. Same if you read a great poem or a good book. I'd like that feeling to happen. I deliberately like Vicar Street because you can sit. I don't want people to stand for 2 hours, 3 hours, and not be able to go to the jacks. But, you know, I like people to be able to see it, and I like a roof on it. I don't like outdoor gigs anymore. I don't suit them. Certain acts don't suit outdoors personally. I've seen Nick Cave outdoors and it's been crap, but indoors it's sensational. It's just certain music doesn't work outdoors for me. But yeah, I like being able to make people think or move or even laugh, believe it or not. Because I've got into sort of storytelling as well. I sit in between the acts and sets, so it is very like sci-fi cabaret goes punk and vaudeville.
It sounds absolutely like a distillation of where you've got to, you know, bringing in all the kind of ideas across everything you've done in your career. Well, the new album does feel like it's kind of looking, I mean, maybe you can argue with this, but it's looking back at your life a bit. You know, there's a vulnerability in there. There's the usual, there's swagger, there's charisma, there's a kind of a character, but there is a lot of vulnerability in there. And did you find that when you play it live, that comes out as well?
It can do. I mean, there is, like, half of Ecce Homo is me looking back. I lost, weirdly, over COVID, I lost 3 friends. And just before COVID, I lost my mother to Alzheimer's. And when death hits you, and a lot of, like, really close friends, one of them, Hal Wilner, was one of my best friends. He died of COVID. And it hits you hard, and you lose your ma, especially through Alzheimer's, which is a slow death. It's not. It's almost like the invasion of the body snatchers. Their soul is taken away from you. They're not there anymore. It's a really cruel disease, and it did make me reflective, and it made me think of the past, not in a sad way, but in a joyous way too. There's a song, "When the World Was Young." I wrote, weirdly enough, I wrote it really quickly, and it was more about looking back at me as a 13-year-old when I first met my mates, Googie and Bono on Cedarwood Road, and thinking of how hard things were then, but we believed in trying to get out of that cul-de-sac that we thought was Northside Dublin and believe it in dreams. And I saw it as a touchstone for young people. It's so hard now to go out and do something unique. Like even form a band, it's so expensive to try and do anything. And I just see that When the World Is Young is like, reach for your dreams, jump for the sky. You can do it. So it was being retrospective and embracing my past in a loving way, but also trying to encourage young people as well. It's like, you know, I used to live out in the suburbs, out the posh Killiney area, but I've moved back to the city a few years ago, and up near Rathmines, and I just see people that look like me when I was 20 walking around, and I find that really refreshing. When I walked around like that in the late 70s, early 80s, I was battered every corner I turned around, you know what I mean? So it's the energy like that. I think, you know, I find England, when I was a kid, the epicenter of everything. Music, it's where punk was, it's where Bowie came from, Kate Bush, all this incredible stuff. And now, I don't feel anything coming from England, but I go, Jesus, Ireland, Dublin, Cork, Limerick, these cities could become vibrant places like London was in the 70s. I think the talent is there. Just look at the bands coming out and the actors alone. It's pretty phenomenal. So I'm really inspired by Irish youth, because I think there's a great energy there. And I think we're all copping on that the phone does more damage than good. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, look at this Thursday in Vicar Street, Gavin Friday. If you want to go and see Gavin kind of reflect on a life creatively lived at full volume, this is the gig to go to. In Vicar Street, Thursday night on the 12th of March. Gavin, it's been such a pleasure to chat to you.
The gentleman, thanks.
Thank you so much. Why don't we play something great from Ecce Homo? This is Church of Love. It's Radio Nova.
The Nova Guest List Podcast with Kieran McGuinness. The very best in indie, alternative and homegrown music from the seriously addictive Radio Nova.